everyone, welcome to my bathroom, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a makeup look and a chit chat. There's a lot of tea to spill. Not going to spill all of it in this video, but we are going to spill some tea. A little life update, chit chat. I don't know what I'm going to do with this look, but we'll see what it turns into. Okay, let's see what I'm trying to do with this hair. I didn't fully refresh my curls today from yesterday. Yesterday I had a really good curly hair day because I washed my hair. I didn't want to wet it because my hair takes forever to dry, so I put some gel, but then I tied it with the hair clip and it lost its shape. So I guess I'm just gonna put it up while I do my makeup and figure out the hair later. So let's figure out this hair later. Today I'm just gonna be doing my makeup for the video. I hope you guys can see me well there. First and foremost, I don't know if you guys knew, but I was living in February. Me and hubby moved to Florida in 2022. Lived in another city, like 4 hours away from Miami the first year. Had an amazing apartment. We're back in that building community right now, amazing rent, etc. And we decided to move to Miami when our 1 year lease ended, me and the boo, because we wanted the city life, very New York of us. I already prepped my skin, so I'm gonna get right into foundation. So we moved to Miami February of 2024, and we're there up until October 2025. Just moved back and moved back into the same building, signed another 1 year lease because we loved it here, and they've since remodeled the apartments even more, and the rents here are so affordable, especially for a young couple in their 30s like us. So we decided Miami wasn't it anymore, and we moved. So during my 1 year and a half in Miami, I was at Louis Vuitton. So I used to work for luxury fashion back home. As some of you know, I authenticated and stuff. I was at the Real from 2017 to 2021 at the New Jersey headquarters, close to Manhattan, where I grew up. I was born in New York, but close to Jersey. And then I was with Fashion 5 for a year, right before I moved to Florida. So I'm going to be using my YSL foundation. I have put some of it in here for travel purposes, and there's still some there. So I got this when I was working at Louis. They were getting rid of some cosmetics from the Saks makeup counter, and I was able to score that YSL foundation, and it happened to match my skin perfectly. It is the Yves Saint Laurent All Hours foundation, and it has a sunscreen SPF of 20. And when I'm tan, because I've been very tan ever since I moved to Florida, because we go to the beach a lot. Both here, we're like 10 minutes away, and both in Miami we used to go often because we were close, versus in New Jersey where you had to drive like an hour and a half to the shore. And also winter, of course, over there. Here it's a little chilly, like right now it's in the 40s, 50s, but it gets warm again. It's like very rare when it gets that cold. So I've been very tan, and this foundation happened to match my skin and my tan state perfectly. So we moved to Miami. I scored Louis. I loved my job, amazing pay, perks, the uniform, so much fun. I was a full-time client advisor, salesperson, so I was working 40 hours per week, 5 days a week. The problem with Miami is that the rent is very expensive, and over there they have like these tiny little $3,000 studios with like the kitchen next to the freaking toilet, literally, not figuratively, and like the bed like a few feet from the toilet and the kitchenette for like almost $3,000, and they want $3,000 for that, plus they want you to have like 3 months up front in cash to be able to qualify and move in, which is absolutely ridiculous, because here we only had to put 1 month down payment and a small deposit the first time. Now, since we were good tenants during our first year here, and we were basically like redoing a new lease, but we had lived here, it was a quick process to move right back in, and she just requested that we had like jobs, so we secured new jobs here, and the process was fairly smooth. But Miami wants all of this money for these tiny little places, which is one of the reasons I understand now why a lot of the young people are moving out of Miami. I have a little bit of a scalp there from a pimple that I had, so I'm trying to get rid of that so it doesn't show on the foundation. So Miami is extremely expensive. It's like for rich people and influencers, and tech people, and for like young regular folks like us who are trying to make it in life. You know, it's very hard, it's very difficult, it's very pricey. So it was fun in the sense that in New York we were both in the fashion industry, me and Javi, and we got to have access to events like Art Basel F1 and stuff like that. We know people in PR. We connected fairly quickly with people over there, and our friends from New York happened to know people there. So we were in the mix, like, you know, attending like blog website launches, you know, like this company has a blog for food, and they did a event sponsored by some liquor companies and a restaurant, and you know, with the goodie bags and mixed and mingling with like journalists and industry people. That was fun, but it gets old real quick. You know, you realize that Miami, if you're not established born and raised there, it's a great place to vacation but not to live. As to the job, I loved Delby, but it was a lot of pressure because, you know, as a salesperson, you have to sell, and Amanda, you have to sell. You know, with this economy, people are not really focused too much on blowing $4,000 on a bag. Like, they just got rid of the food benefits. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on in the country and with the economy, political stuff. And I think that the last thing that people want to do is go and spend $4,000 on a bag. Sometimes, you know, people really want to save up for a fragrance. They save up these like $400 for this LV fragrance. Fantastic. And then they show up and you're like, you know, you're trying to be like, hey, pitch the bags to them, and it's like a turn off. It's like, because it's like, I just saved for this fragrance, like I ain't trying to blow this amount of money on the bag right now. So that was a lot of pressure when it comes to that, and it's hard to, like, you know, not everyone gets lucky, or it takes a while to find those clients that are like, you know, constant shoppers. So there was a lot of pressure in that sense. The job itself, my coworkers, the amazing clients that I met, the product, it was like very, very fun. I used to bicker with my coworkers like brothers and sisters. So we used to bicker, and then we used to crack up. We used to bond with the clients and stuff. It was a good time, you know. And the management was a fun environment. So like, I really genuinely did click with people. Like, I really liked the team over there. I was very sad when I left. I met some people that I'm definitely gonna remain friends with forever, both clients and coworkers. But other than that, it was just a lot of pressure. Now back to the economy thing. The people in Miami, when they say that the people in Miami are rude, some of the rudest people, they're not lying. And I know where you come from, you're gonna attack me. I'm not saying everybody. I'm saying a lot of people. Miami has a lot of people that are very entitled, and also there's another thing that it was hard for us to make like genuine friends. We did meet some cool people that we will stay in touch with and stuff and see when we visit. But at the same time, I feel like people be like, oh my god, yes, we have these interests in common, let's hang out. And I'm not gonna say I'm not guilty. There was a few times that I did make some genuine connections with some people that I could have definitely built an actual friendship with, and they were like, oh, let's go here, let's go there, let's make time. And my fault, I was complaining that I didn't have friends and I didn't hit them up to hang out. But in my defense, when it comes to those people, these people always wanted to go to like these bougie restaurants, and I'm like just barely trying to survive. All my money's going to like, you know, us surviving. And it's like, I'll go to like a cute little events because it's free. These PR events, you don't pay, you know, you just get on the RSVP list and it's open bar and, you know, appetizers and stuff, cute little photo op with a cute little outfit, photographers in the room. But when it comes to like hitting up a restaurant in South Beach or like in Brickell and like having like a $200 bill, honey, I don't got time for it because I have other priorities. Financially wise, like I just can't do it. And a lot of Miami is that like going to dinner, looking cute for the gram, and spending a bag. And I'm not saying that in Manhattan and New Jersey it's not like that, but it's a little more affordable. Like over there, I used to be able to go out with friends and split the bill, and I feel like it wasn't that pricey. But in Miami, everything is so freaking expensive, and the happy hour is not a happy hour. Like you can go and order 3 cocktails, and it'll easily be like $80, so you bring it like, bro, like what the hell? I just had 3 cocktails. So it wasn't it in that sense. And also, you know, my man doesn't speak Spanish. I do because my parents are Latino. I'm first generation American. But for him, it was definitely challenging. So I finished my foundation. I'm gonna go in. It took forever to find my brush. I like this on a dual Anastasia Beverly Hills brush that came with my Anastasia palette. And I'm gonna go in with the Kylie Skin, and I'm gonna do like a little neutral base color on the eyelid before I go in with the other stuff. So just like a base. So everything over there is so freaking expensive and so pricey, and people do not speak English for the most part. So like I was saying, Spanish is my mother tongue, but I feel like a lot of people in Miami, they come from their countries, and since everybody speaks Spanish, they don't make an effort to learn any basic English. In New York and New Jersey, where I was born and raised, people come from other countries, you know, China, Middle East, Spanish countries, and they make an effort to at least learn like minimal English, like yes, thank you, you know, to get a job and stuff, because they adapt. Like, hey, I'm arriving in another country, I have to adapt to this country, you know, I have to get it together and learn so I could be able to, like, you know, maneuver. But in Miami, it is not like that at all. So for hubby, my boo, we're not legally married, but we live like husband and wife, so I call him the hubby. For him, as someone who's only an English-speaking person, it was challenging. There was a few times where he would get frustrated because people would start talking to him in Spanish, and he had no clue what the hell they were saying. And then he would be like, hey, I don't speak Spanish. Do you speak some English? And I would be like, no hablo inglés. Even like these big corporations like Target, Walmart, the cashiers, the servers, everywhere. I remember a specific instance when he went to a supermarket and he was looking for a very particular product and he couldn't figure out which aisle it was. And he called me, and you can hear the frustration in his voice with the language barrier. And he's like, hey, can you tell this person that I need X, Y, and C? I'm going to put you on speaker because she's not understanding me because she doesn't speak English. So, you know, for an American in his own country to struggle in a whole city everywhere that he goes, it was definitely tough for him. And then people look at him like he's from out of this planet because he grew his afro out. His hair grows fairly quickly. He's cut it like twice in the last 3 years, but it's grown out now. And people would look at him and ask him if it was a wig. Some people were nice and would compliment it, but he had a couple instances where people would look at him like. And there was, I remember, an instance where someone asked them, can I touch it? You know, we don't do that. Or something like that. I don't remember too well. I was on the train or something. So like little stuff like that, every day I was concerned, like this guy is gonna get into like a fight with someone one of these days if someone says the wrong thing, you know, because they could be very tone deaf out there in Miami. So all of those things definitely made for a challenging time in Miami, which all factored into us moving here. The fun stuff for us to be in Miami, I would say the highlights were places like F1, like when they would do all the F1 events during F1 week. They would have a lot of co-installations and events and stuff. Also Art Basel. I feel like everyone who is in the fashion and art industry definitely pops out to Miami for Art Basel, from New York, from Los Angeles, etc. So those are fun like weeks. It's like the New York Fashion Week of Miami. And which other one? F1 or Basel. I feel like there's another one that I'm missing. I remember later in the video, I'll let you guys know. But yes, that is the tea, my friends. So we picked up and moved right back to this area of Florida. It is quiet here, it is boring, but it's a special type of peace of mind because we know that it's at least comfortable. You know, we're comfortable. We have an amazing apartment with pool, gym, and everything for like a very reasonable price. Another challenge was I did have family like about close to an hour out of Miami, but you know, everyone is busy and has their own thing going, and I thought I would be having the opportunity to see them more often when I moved there. But of course I forgot that life gets in the way and people have their own stuff going on, and I literally only saw them in a year and a half. And I'm not saying that it was really like anyone's fault, it's just, you know, it was a bad time. There's a lot of stuff going on in the family, sick family, and you know, people moving, just a lot of like moving components. So I never got to see them because they have, you know, their own stuff going on, which is completely cool. They still love me, I still love them. We would talk on the phone and stuff. But that was like another thing that it was like, what's the point, you know, like I don't even get to see my family even though I'm close to them. So it didn't feel like Miami was serving any purpose anymore. And hubby at least has some family here close by, like in the same county. So at least it's close. It's nice that if you want to be like, hey, come over for Thanksgiving, or can we come over for Thanksgiving, or whatever, you're around people that you want to be around for those things. So Miami was definitely like not serving a purpose anymore, and it was to a point where I was very stressed out every day in Miami with the, you know, the pressure of work, and you know, we didn't have the best living situation, and everything was so expensive and lonely at the same time, and you know, it was time to say sayonara. It was fun while it lasted, and we left. So now I'm gonna get into some tips for you guys. If you guys are ever, for anyone that's ever considered moving to Miami, definitely do your research. So I'm gonna tell you, we learned from our mistakes. We moved to Miami with not a lot of planning. I got very lucky that I applied to LV and got called for the position within, I wanna say, 4 or 5 days after I applied. They quickly called me up and for an interview, and I started my round of interviews. But one thing that we did, I'm going in now with my Jaclyn Hill, so I did like the little nude. I put a little light over here, so I'm gonna go in now with my Jaclyn Hill and do like a little gold shimmer in the center. I'm wondering if I should do like a liner or not. That's TBD. So I'm still determining if I'm gonna do some eyeliner. So some tips if you guys are ever planning to move to Miami. Definitely, I got lucky that I got hired, right? Like I started working exactly a month after I got there, so I applied. As soon as we got to Miami, got called within a few days and started a round of interviews, landed a job while they did the background check and stuff like that. It was about an exact month until I started. But when we left to Miami, we got rid of all of our stuff, sold off all of our furniture, and basically told them, yeah, we're not renewing our least. Now that it's ended, gave them a date and left. And we got an Airbnb for a few weeks and said we'll figure it out when we get there. I'm lucky with the job, but we didn't really plan ahead. We didn't really have like the jobs fully lined up, which caused a lot of stress. We didn't really have like our living situation figured out, and we didn't have too much savings. And I learned that if you're gonna move to Miami, you need to have at least like a good solid 7 to 10 grand just up front, if you're like single or a couple. And if it's a bigger family, I would say a little more, because Miami is definitely expensive. Make sure that you find out ahead of time what are the best areas that would be best for you for your living, and get a good idea of where you would like to work and what is the process, how long it takes, and if they're hiring and all that stuff. Get in touch with people on LinkedIn, because if you wait to do all of that once you're in the city, it's definitely gonna be challenging. So that's one thing that we wish we would have done different, is better planning ahead. We kind of just left with all the good vibes, like, oh, it's just gonna work out. Which, when we left, we were 32. It was the year we were turning 33, we're 34 now. So as young adults in our 30s, we should have known better. We lived and we learned. And that's definitely a lesson. Like the next time that we moved, like when we did it here, we had a little more planification and solidness. But moving like that, with not a lot of planning and savings and stuff like that, definitely isn't the best scenario. And that's one big recommendation that I have. You have to plan ahead, plan in advance, and definitely do your research. Because if we would have done a little bit more research, we would have known a little more of what to expect and how to handle things when we got there. Miami is not for the weak, you guys, I promise. I'm doing this little orange on the waterline. Since it is November, Thanksgiving month, they did a little gold at the top. So I'm doing this at the waterline. Let's see how it looks. So yeah, I feel like Miami was a lot of trial and error. And I definitely feel like we definitely did not do enough research. We had went 2 years straight after moving to Florida for our Basso for a week during December in 2022 and in 2023, and we moved at the beginning of 2024. But visiting is not the same as living, and also the vibe is completely different because there's a lot of people from out of town and stuff like that, and it's so lively. But that's not how it is year round. You have to like get a sense of what it's like to actually live there, and we definitely like didn't set in until we were already there. So I feel like you have to figure out what city is best, what city has, you know, restaurants and the lifestyle that you kind of like want to surround yourself with. Where is it affordable for you? The traffic in Miami is also ridiculous, by the way. Like, absolutely a nightmare, especially in downtown and the South Beach areas. So if you drive, I also suggest you figure out which area is best for you because of that situation. And finding parking in Miami can be very pricey depending on where you're at. It's like Manhattan expensive, like the middle of Manhattan. So I definitely suggest that if you drive, you do your research. And also another thing in Miami, a lot of accidents happen because Floridians are funny on the road. It's like everybody just drives like a nut person. Not everybody, but like most people in Miami, it's scary how they drive. Makes me think like who gave people licenses. So if you drive, I suggest you do your research on which are the best areas to be at because of the insane traffic. I think I did enough with the eyes. I'm debating if I want to do eyeliner or not. Okay, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do little eyelining with makeup, with eyeshadow. Let me see, one of my darker brows, probably this one, just a little bit with this line brush. The next video, I'm gonna tell you guys some of the fun stuff about working at LV, some anecdotes. One thing that was fun about living in Miami as a Spanish person was running into the telenovela stars, especially at the mall where I worked. Like, imagine you just walking around, minding your business, and you run into this woman, and you're just like, hey, my mom had me on TV all the time when I was like 10. And you're like, oh my God, and you can't believe that they're in front of you. That was definitely like its own moment and deserves its own glory. And I would immediately come on, Mommy, I just saw such and such. She'd be like, no way, is she as pretty in person? Was she nice? So that was definitely, something to call the fam about, and they would always geek and freak out like, oh my God, Maria. Or my male cousins like, I had a crush on her when I was little, she's such a baddie, blah blah blah. So that was definitely like, that was a fun part of the experience. But other than that, I feel like I don't have any more tips at this time about Miami, but that's basically why we moved. On the next video, tell me guys in the comments if you want to do like a little LV Q&A, or if you would like to instead do like a tour of the apartment and how it's coming along, which it is coming along really nicely actually. Alright, there you have it. I ran out of setting spray. It's been a while since I did a full beat like this, but this is the makeup look. I hope you guys enjoy hanging out with me. I hope you guys like the makeup, and I will see you guys on the next video. Bye!